What's up, everybody? It's Justin. Welcome to Live Ask Me Anything number 99. That's right, AMA number 99. 99 is only one away from 100. A lot of people don't know that. Holy mackerel. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Lots of cool stuff to talk about tonight. You guys have been submitting awesome questions all while I was gone doing crazy things in Mexico and all that stuff. You don't need to hear that story again. Go back to the Escape from Mexico episode and check it out. Today was court date in Mexico. Whoops. Okay, anyway, let me mute this so this doesn't cause problems. People dinging me and stuff. What's up, Judy? What's up, Jackie? How you doing? Welcome. What's up, Erica? So anyway, tonight I'm going back to just the standard AMA. You guys are submitting Clovis questions at ama.imclovis.com. So we're going to fly through some of those. There is a pattern emerging that I'm seeing with what I would call Clovis OGs, people who have been clients of Clovis for over a year or over 2 years in some cases with some of these people. And I really, really want to dig into their questions because they're having a lot of the same issues and they're all tied to the same root causes. So I really, really want to dig into this thing. We're going to jump in there. I'm going to make sure people join this Facebook thing. I just posted on Instagram and did a swipe up. Let me make sure that posted just to get people into this. Yep. All right, that went up. Cool. So hopefully some people will swipe up. Join us from Instagram. Click the like button, the love button, the happy button. Click the share button. Share this on your wall. Kayla's already tagging people. Thank you, Kayla. Really appreciate it. Hope your friend Joanne comes and joins this. This is the public Facebook group, facebook.com/theclovisculture. Not the group. I guess this is the fan page, quote unquote. So people can see these. If you tag your friends in this, they will be tagged and be able to see this video. Whereas a lot of people try to tag people in the private groups, and the Facebook groups are private. Those are private, safe places like the Clovis Academy. But you can join the Facebook community for free. The Clovis Academy is free. Then I have some paid Facebook groups. As you guys know, a lot of you guys are in those groups. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for tagging people. Awesome. I appreciate it. All right. So AMA number 99. I have a wide range of questions for this one, and I tried to kind of weave them in a way that would make a little bit of sense, but they are drastically different than one another. So let's just jump in and we're going to cover a lot of topics tonight. So the first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to read you this question, and then I'm going to basically let you know all the different ways in which I see this question manifesting itself. It's all the same thing, okay? And this is particularly for the women out there. This is the thing. It is very clear to me that this is a behavioral thing. Right? It is a gender thing. Yes, it seems to only happen for one gender. This never happens with any of my male clients ever. I've never had this happen. Okay. So oddly enough, this has happened to me, a little bit of thyroid issues. But we're going to talk about thyroid and why this is happening. And this question isn't even particularly about thyroid, but you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. We're going to dig into this. This is behavioral. This is cultural. This is a societal problem. This is the way that we program women with weight loss and caloric restriction and bullshit. Okay? So we're going to undo some of the bullshit, and we're going to talk about this caloric intake problem that I see being a huge problem for a lot of people. Let's dig into this. Okay? So here's the question. I am having significant hair loss. Am I missing a vitamin? I take pure encapsulations, multivitamins daily. Just a little concern. Hormones are balanced, and I take Armor Thyroid. Hormones and vitamins C and D every day. Okay, sorry. So I copy and paste these questions as they're written, so sometimes I have to fix the typos in there. So so hormones are balanced, and I take Armor Thyroid, hormones and vitamin C and D every day. Okay, so it looks like she wrote the word, I take Armor Thyroid and Harmonies, but I'm assuming something like hormones. Maybe you take hormones. Maybe there are some hormones being taken as well. Okay, so let's dig into this thing. This hair thinning thing or hair falling out or any of that usually comes back to micronutrient density. That's what I want to talk about. But I do want to just say, get this out of the way. I heard a great podcast with Emily Fletcher from Stress Less, Accomplish More, talking about the Ziva technique. She was talking about graying hair and talking about hair thinning and these things. Stress seems to play a massive role in all things hair related. We've known this for a very long time. People will say things like, oh, look at the president, and after his first 4 years, he has so much more gray hair. Or people become parents, and all of a sudden they have so much more gray hair. And we know that traumatic events, even in children, can cause hair to turn white, literally. Stress is a huge, huge factor in all of these hair issues: thinning, balding, graying, all these things. So I can't I can't overemphasize that. Like, you really need to try some sort of stress management type thing. My favorite approach that I found is the Z technique with Emily Fletcher. Grab the book, Stress Less, Accomplish More. But let's dive into this micronutrient thing. So a couple things I want to point out is the way this question was listed. So I have some notes here that I wrote based on the way it was listed, because I want to point this out to you guys so you can start to see this stuff for yourself, right? So here's the thing. She asks, am I missing a vitamin? I take pure encapsulations, multivitamins daily. I take vitamin C. I take vitamin D. I take a thyroid medication. Looks like she also takes hormones, right? So what are we finding here? This isn't necessarily the answer. The answer isn't, I need more vitamins. I need more supplements. I need product XYZ. I need hormone replacement therapy XYZ. I need whatever, we jump to these things where we want some kind of miracle supplement or something, where the miracle supplement that you have on hand all the time is micronutrient dense foods. Now, this particular client had a significant amount of weight to lose when she got to me. So what happens is we have people that are dealing with significant obesity. Priority number one is to handle that obesity problem, because you are at a higher risk of all-cause mortality from anything under the sun as long as you are obese. So people come to me in such a bad place, body fat percentage-wise, that they're what I call high risk. So I will take particular steps to make sure I get them out of that high risk zone as fast as possible. So it gives them some quick results. Now, also, this is a psychological game that I have to play because we live in the world of bullshit diet plans. So if I don't get you weight loss results on the scale right away, I risk losing you as a client. That's the game that any nutritional therapist has to play in 2020, unfortunately. We shouldn't be focused on the number on the scale. We should be focused on optimal health and wellness. Unfortunately, when you come to me and you pay me, I know what you want because of your societal programming. You want the number on the scale to drop as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you don't think I know what I'm doing. So I have to play these games constantly with your mindset, with your psychology, right? It's not manipulating. It's just, I know what's best for you on the back end. So I have to kind of finagle it this way. You want to see the number on the scale drop, right? So that means we're dealing with a caloric deficit in the beginning. I'm creating custom macronutrients for you to make sure that things like fat loss are happening. We might talk about intermittent fasting or time restricted eating, or just at least a 12-hour fast each day or something like that, with the ultimate goal of fat loss, fat loss, fat loss. Now, what happens is fat loss is awesome for women in the beginning. They absolutely love it. I found Clovis. This is the only thing that works. It's amazing. Now, you get custom macros from me once, maybe twice in, let's say, a year or 2 years, if hopefully you bought macros from me more than once. I tell people, if you lost 40 pounds, you got to get macros from me again, right? But what happens is you become obsessed and you think that this plan that I made for you is what you should be doing forever, which means you are now at a chronic caloric deficit for a year, 2 years. I've talked about this extensively. This is the biggest loser study that I've talked about in the fat loss episodes and all these things. When you are living in a chronic caloric deficit, you can lose weight in the beginning, and then your BMR adjusts itself, your basal metabolic rate, right? The metabolism actually slows itself down and says, we don't have as much nutrient intake as we were used to. Let's slow things down a little bit. So now your basal metabolic rate, let's just say, I'm making up numbers, let's say it was 2,000, and I put you on a 1,700 calorie diet. Well, all of a sudden your new baseline is going to become 1,700. Now we play this scary game where you keep having to drop the calories to keep up what? Weight loss. I don't care about weight loss. This is not a marker of health, right? But everyone's so obsessed with weight loss that the calories get lower and lower and lower, and the food intake gets lower and lower and lower. So what happens, you have these people that come to me obese, they lose a ton of weight. Now we're 2 years in, they're 80 pounds lighter than they used to be, they're 100 pounds lighter than they used to be, and they're still just living at this chronic caloric deficit. They got used to this food intake. They're comfortable there. What they don't realize is they're probably dealing with a boatload of micronutrient deficiencies. That's what it sounds like in this case. Anytime I hear hypothyroid, Hashimoto's, or just this person telling me that they are on a thyroid medication that is prescribed particularly for hypothyroid, right? Then I know that I'm probably dealing with a micronutrient deficiency. I think that this hypothyroidism diagnosis is quite lazy. It doesn't look at the whole picture. I've done full podcasts on this where I talk about the entire HPA axis. I talk about the way this whole thing works, this metabolic dysregulation that is manifesting itself with these thyroid problems. And usually the doctor's just going to measure something like TSH hormone and say, well, you need a thyroid medication. Boom, here you go, right? But what's really happening, in my opinion, is you're dealing with micronutrient deficiencies. So if I can just get you to up the micronutrients, not from supplements, you don't need another vitamin, you don't need another pill, you don't need another oil, you don't need another capsule, you don't need another herb or spice or anything like this. You need micronutrients. The best way to do this is with the most nutrient-dense foods. These would include organ meats. Organ meats are fantastic. I'm looking at the counter right now. I have some oysters over there. Oysters are fantastic, right? Or even just hitting your macros with red meat. So I want to get you to a point where we're not so focused on fat loss. We're focused on optimal human health. I want to optimize your health as a whole. Now, this happened with a client recently as well, where this same thing happened. She lost a ton of weight, super focused on fat loss, obsessed with the body fat percentage, getting the weight down. And then we run some blood work, and I don't really like what I see. Now, this is the first time that she had ever run extensive blood work. So keep in mind, when you guys come to me, I have to guess. I get your age, your height, your weight, your activity level, your goals. The fact that I get you any results at all with that minuscule amount of information is insane. You're welcome, right? This is crazy, but it's really guesswork. And I just happen to be pretty good at it, okay? So what happens is then I have a client who maybe I've cut 30, 40, 50 pounds off of her, and she does extensive blood work for the first time. And I'm going, okay, there's still some dysfunction here that we really need to sort out. And I can't sort out that dysfunction if we're still solely focused on the number on the scale, because chronic caloric deficit is not healthy. This is not good. It is literally your body thinking, we're fooling your body into thinking that there is food scarcity. There is no food scarcity in America, not at all, okay? So it's super important to understand that eventually we need to get you to a place where you are eating enough goddamn food to let your body function properly. That's going to be more calories than you are used to because you are a female. And I am sorry, it's not fair. I don't agree with it, but you have been told since you were born that you need to eat like a bird, and you can barely eat any food as a female because you're going to get fat because of calories. I'm telling you right now, calories are horseshit. I am convinced of it. I'm convinced, and I can walk you through that. I'm actually going to write a whole Justin episode about it and record it, how ridiculous it is. I could teach you to eat 3,000 calories a day as a female and not gain any body fat. It's just ridiculous that we still play this calorie game, right? So here's what's happening. When people are very cold, when their nails are feeling brittle, or their teeth are really sensitive, or they feel like their hair is thinning, or all these things, it's probably just micronutrient deficiencies. So I would tell this person to literally get grass-fed beef liver, eat 4 ounces of it a day. Yes, some people are going to go, oh my God, that's a lot of iron. What if you have high ferritin? What if you have high iron? You're not a biochemist. Get over it, right? Listen, if you just want a quick bolus of micronutrients, do that. Organ meats or sardines or oysters, or, get some beef heart, get some beef liver, get some chicken livers, whatever you got to do. The most micronutrient dense foods all fall within the animal protein category. So another thing I want to touch on here is there was another client that I was dealing with that was having just some body composition problems. And they're like, I'm hitting my macros. So what I want to talk about, again, with this caloric intake thing, is it's not about the calories. It's the type of calorie. It's the quality of the calorie. It's not the quantity of the calorie. If you're getting all your calories from Pop-Tarts, you're not going to get many micronutrients. If you're getting all your calories from grass-fed ribeyes and grass-fed beef liver, you're going to have a boatload of micronutrients. So what happened was this person wasn't particularly happy with their body composition, and they showed me what they were eating. They just sent me screenshots of their Carb Manager app or whatever. This is a client I've been working with for a long time, right? And I discovered just through looking at the foods that they were eating virtually all of their macronutrients coming from processed foods. This is possible to do on Clovis. Let me explain. If you have the Clovis approved foods list, there is a whole section of approved products. You'll see things like Primal Kitchen dressing, or Califia Farms almond milk, or C8 MCT oil, or grass-fed butter, or perfect keto bars, or something like this, right? What people forget, that entire section of approved products should be called If You Must. There should be a big title that I should add to the approved foods list. If you must. You should not be hitting your macronutrients with these foods. This is not how I designed Clovis. Y'all, I have t-shirts that say eat whole foods, change the world. I want you to eat whole foods. I want 99.9999999% of your diet to be coming from whole foods. This is what I want for you. This is optimal health. This is the vitamin or supplement or superfood or whatever you think you need. That's the answer. It is the whole micronutrient dense foods, whole foods that are micronutrient dense. So what was happening was this person was, and this happens with a lot of clients, they go, Justin, I'm struggling to hit my fat macros, right? So the next thing you know, they're drinking MCT oil, they're cooking everything grass-fed butter, they're drizzling olive oil on their food, they have approved almond milk every single day, or they add coconut milk to everything, or just on and on and on. It's just adding fat, adding fat, adding fat, adding fat, but they're adding processed fats. These are approved products. Yes, the ingredients are good, but they're still approved products. If you are hitting your fat macro each and every day with nothing but these liquid processed oils, you're gonna have body composition problems 100%. If you were, let's say I'm just gonna make up numbers. These are ridiculous numbers. This is not for anyone, but let's say you have to hit 150 grams of fat every day. I'm not saying this is you. You don't need to run out and do this. So literally, just thought experiment. Let's say you got to hit 150 grams of fat every day. And you get that 150 grams of fat from MCT oil, butter, olive oil, keto snacks, keto fat bombs, whatever, right? Dark chocolate, load up on the dark chocolate because Justin said I can have all this fat, right? If you hit that 150 grams, your body is going to look much, much different body composition wise than if you were to hit that same 150 grams from grass-fed beef and ribeyes, right? If you get that same 150 grams of fat via eating ribeyes and ground beef, let's say, you're going to look way, way different body composition wise than all these processed foods. Guys, C8 MCT oil in a concentrated dose, 2 tablespoons at a time. You will never find this in nature. You will never find grass-fed butter in nature without extensive processing. These are processed foods. Paleo powder is a processed food, right? So now with paleo powder, I mitigate some of this by making it like a complete meal. That's why it contains complex carbohydrates and all these complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, it has protein, all these different things, right? Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, you could just go through the approved products and the approved foods list and just eat nothing but processed foods. You don't want to do that. Don't drink fat. Don't drink liquid fat to hit your fat macro. Why? Because if you're drinking MCT oil to hit your fat macro, you're getting none of the nutrients that you would get if you hit that same fat macro with, say, red meat. Not even close. You're missing out. You could very easily hit your fat macro with keto. This is what I hate about keto. Drink fat through a straw. You're missing out on so many micronutrients. It's not even funny. So the next thing you know, your hair's falling out, you're cold, your teeth are sensitive, you're brittle, you don't like your body composition, you're not maintaining muscle, whatever, because you're just drinking liquid fat all day to hit your macros and you're missing all of those beautiful micronutrients. I mean, that's it. So that's the answer to this. Now, the hair thing, obviously we could go even further. Guys, look up injectable peptides, right? I have a refrigerator full of injectable peptides. I'm just waiting on my syringes. Injectable peptides, a conventional doctor is not going to know what the hell you're talking about. They're going to tell you you're a quack, but I'm telling you right now, they're injectable peptides I mean, I haven't tested it on myself, but people say, right? It can turn like gray hair back to its original color. It can help with balding. It can help with thinning. There are basically peptides for everything at this point. There's a deep sleep peptide just to increase your deep sleep cycle. The problem is these aren't patented, so the pharmaceutical companies can't make money on them. They're very hard to get your hands on. I know how to get my hands on them. If you want to learn about it, just let me know. And you have to inject them. Most consumers do not like injecting. They're just taking a little insulin needle the same way a diabetic would and just pinch your belly fat, put it in there. I have no problem injecting things in myself. I've done this a lot. You guys know this. I'm a biohacker. I'm going to be messing with a lot of peptides coming up here shortly. There's going to be multiple injections, and I will report back to you on those things. I'm very excited about peptide science, and Dr. Anthony J has got me down the rabbit hole of this stuff. It's amazing, right? But anyway, so this is a huge problem that I see inside of Clovis with females. I never see it with men because men are like, I need to hit my fat macro, and they will just eat a big giant ribeye. For some reason, it's very difficult for me to get women to do this. Women are just afraid of red meat. They've been programmed that way. Every woman that ever comes to me, they're like, I eat healthy. I eat brown rice and chicken, brown rice and chicken, brown rice and chicken. And I'm like, There's something where women are, for some reason, some women, the vast majority of women, I know that there's going to be outliers that comment on this and go, I love a ribeye, I love a ribeye. Awesome, I love you, that's great, keep eating ribeye. The vast majority of women that come to me are very standoffish about red meat. None of the women that come to me want to eat organ meats, where I really think like the person asked this question, like you can knock this problem out by just like loading up on some organ meats. Now, the other issue is, I say organ meats, and like I love my friends at Paleo Valley. They make an organ complex, right? You get a discount on it being a Clovis member. You can take organ complex capsules that are freeze-dried animal organ meats in a pill. And guess what? If you eat 2 ounces of grass-fed beef liver a day, you would need to take 60 or 70 capsules of these supplements, right? You need to take a bottle. You need to take a bottle of these supplements every single day to get what you can get from 2 ounces of grass-fed beef liver. I get grass-fed beef liver from a local farmer for $3 a pound. So if I eat 2 ounces a day, that lasts me a very long time as compared to buying what, a $40 or $50 bottle of a capsule supplement that you'd literally have to take the entire bottle every day to get that 2 ounces of micronutrients that you get from just eating grass-fed beef liver. Suck it up, everybody. It's not the most delicious thing in the world. You know, you probably have taken shots of tequila in your life. You might not think that's the most delicious thing in the world, but it's doing something in your body that's beneficial. Well, you could argue if it's beneficial, but you're taking shots of alcohol that don't taste wonderful because it does something in your body. Think of grass-fed beef liver the same exact way. Eat 2 ounces of grass-fed beef liver every day and nuke the crap out of those micronutrients. Just flood your system with micronutrients, and a lot of these things will get fixed. And just be very, very careful that you don't have a processed food diet on Clovis. Guys, I can only safeguard you from this stuff so much. You need to be able to look at your kitchen and go, everything that I have is in a box or in a bottle, and I'm hitting all my macros by something that I dump out of a box or dump out of a bottle or is in a jar or whatever. Like, you can't just constantly use these processed oils and fats to hit your fat macronutrient, right? Like, at the end of the day, you got to eat whole foods. That's all there is to it, period. This is irrefutable, everybody. You need to eat whole foods that are as micronutrient dense as humanly possible. I'm actually going to have Marty Kendall from Optimizing Nutrition is going to come on the podcast. I'm going to talk about regenerative agriculture, but also talk about his entire approach, which is getting people to choose foods based on the nutrient density, starting with nutrient density first. There's a lot of hypotheses like this, the same way that Ted Naiman says start with protein first, all these different things. But anyway, I really, really needed to dig into this because this micronutrient stuff is crazy. Women are literally just starving themselves. That's it. They're starving themselves. And what happens is I'll help somebody lose 100 pounds and they might still have 50 pounds to go. And they're just hell-bent that they're going to eat less and less and less food until they get that other 50 pounds. I'm like, no, listen, if you could help you optimize your health first, if we can get your metabolism firing on all cylinders, working well, your thyroid working correctly, right? Everything working well, it's much, much easier for me to do anything with you. It's much easier for me to help you lose fat. It's much easier for me to help you build muscle. It's much easier for you to get deep sleep at night and recover. Obviously, people that get more sleep lose more fat, even when caloric intake is controlled for in clinical studies. Sleep is important. Stress is important. Eating enough freaking calories, even though I don't think calories matter, it's the word we have, right? Eating enough freaking macronutrients and micronutrients is critical, okay? So women, you gotta stop starving yourselves. You just got to, I have people regularly that come to me and they're like, well, I track my macros and, I'm trying to lose weight and you told me to eat 1,500 calories and look, I'm close. And they'll hold up their carb manager app and it's like, you ate 900 calories today. What? You can't do this. This is not okay. All right. Yeah. Kayla, mind blown. I hope so. It's awesome. What else we got here? Crystal, I'm not surprised because I look at the food list and I know I don't eat a balanced diet of healthy food. I am picky and it's hard to eat a ton to hit my macros. I feel like I'm eating all the time. Yes, exactly. And you will be healthier than you've ever been if you do what I told you to do specifically. And I know that you know that. The women that come to me, they know you paid me for the plan. You paid me for the plan. You've seen the 1,500 lives that I've transformed. You know what happens if you just do what I tell you to do, right? But it's all this freaking programming. You're looking at it like people do this thing. It's like, there's no way that eating all that red meat is healthy for me. Yes, it is. I promise you, it absolutely is. I eat red meat all the time, and people kind of want to look like I look, right? So it's just like, it's this crazy thing that women do where they're just like, yeah, I know that Justin knows what he's talking about. I know that he's telling me to eat more ribeye, but it just can't. Can it really? Can it really? Yes, it really can. It really can be that simple, right? If you want to test this out for a few days, stop tracking macros completely and eat 2 ribeyes a day. Do it. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to have cravings. You're going to feel great. It's just, don't worry about these things. Everybody's crazy. You're going to be much worse off trying to eat all these different fats in jars and everything while avoiding red meat. It doesn't make any sense at all, right? Liver is legit my favorite. Liver is legit my favorite too. I totally agree with you, Jen. I absolutely love liver. Me too. I'm a total meat girl. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It's great, right? I know a lot of you guys are going to be that. You are going to be outliers, right? But 99.99999% of women that come to me are not eating nearly enough red meat. They're not eating nearly enough protein. All of their fat sources are poor fat sources, and they're eating way too many carbs when they get to me. Obviously, carbs are the first thing that I have to deal with virtually any client who's suffering from obesity. Dairy is usually a huge thing that I have to deal with when someone's suffering from obesity. So anyway, that's kind of a long rant on that question, but it's really important that you guys understand this stuff, that food is good for you, okay? This whole idea of restricting calories, the only reason restricting calories even exists is because we are not eating a species appropriate diet. We just are not in America. Of course, eating less poison is going to be less bad for you than eating more poison. Does that mean that simply eating less of anything is a good idea? No, it just means that eating less poison is a good idea. If you have a 2,000 calorie a day diet of Pop-Tarts, then eating a 1,500 calorie a day diet of Pop-Tarts is probably going to be beneficial because you're eating 100% poison. If you do that same 2,000 to 1,500 calorie comparison with grass-fed ribeye, you got no problem. The 500 calorie caloric deficit is going to mean nothing to you. It's just because you're eating things that are not appropriate. And again, all these oils and loading up on this stuff, not necessarily appropriate. All right, so I beat that horse to death. That was a long, long answer. What else we got here? Let's see. All right, questions. Nutrient density, we talked about that. Okay, here's an interesting one. This says, what is your opinion on DNA fit? Is it accurate? So I'm not so sure. I did DNA fit years ago when it first came out. I heard about DNA fit on a podcast or something. I think, God, it's got to be 5 or 6 years now or something since I did DNA fit. This is basically just you take your 23andMe raw data and run it to DNA fit. It's like, I think it's like $499. It's like really expensive. And they come back with this whole thing. I really don't think it's accurate. But it's just like this blanket statement thing. It's like a food list, and these are the foods you should eat, and this is the type of exercise you should do. But it's so beautiful and well put together that I'm like, oh, these are templates. They're sending you templates and just kind of checking little boxes based on what they've seen, right? So the thing to remember with this DNA fit thing is, I don't think that you can take your genetics and figure out exactly what types of food you should be eating. I don't think we're there yet. Companies like Viome doing the microbiome stuff, I don't think that they're there yet either. I think they're being kind of dishonest in how accurate they are. I don't think that they can tell you, oh yeah, you can totally eat whole grains because you have this particular bacteria in your gut, you have this particular genetic SNP. No. So DNA Fit told me I needed like more whole grains, told me I had to eat way less salt, told me I had to eat like more carbohydrates in general. I had to eat way less saturated fat, right? Now, keep in mind, I do blood work every 3 months, extensive blood work. I know exactly what happens. If I would have taken that DNA Fit advice, which I've done in the past, I know exactly which way my blood markers go, and they are all not good. So clearly, to me, that's inaccurate. Then in the last podcast I just did with Dr. Anthony J, we did a DNA analysis because Anthony J does genetic consulting, and he analyzed my DNA live on the podcast. And we talked about DNA Fit briefly, where I said DNA Fit had these markers for me. They said I'm at like the highest risk of all injuries and all these things. And Dr. J came back and was like, actually, no. And he just explained to me that he thinks that DNA Fit was wrong. You had to go back and listen to that episode. It's episode number 22. All the interviews are just listed by number. So he's, was it number 22, I think? Yeah, something like that. Been a lot of guests. Is that many guests? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, check out Dr. Anthony J, the genetics test that I did. It's recent on the Globus Culture podcast. He doesn't think DNA Fit is accurate, and I tend to side with this dude on everything. Anthony J is just absolutely brilliant. So to answer your question, no, I would probably save my money on DNA Fit. If you were going to spend that kind of money, like $499, then I would just take your 23andMe raw data and I would go to Dr. Anthony J's website, which is ajconsultingcompany.com. I can put it in the show notes, and I would work with one of his consultants. I think he's like $600 for 90 minutes or something like that. But then he has trained physicians that are like underneath him that I think you can get the consulting for like $200. That'd be a much better way to use your 23andMe raw data and to get a genetics test done, to work with an actual practitioner that understands these things. There is another option that I've been exploring. I just haven't bit the bullet on this thing because it's crazy expensive. There's a company called Genoma International, and Genoma International trains physicians in genetics. So they teach them how to analyze genetics, but their whole sales pitch is there are millions and millions and millions of genetic SNPs. We know there's like 3 million genetic SNPs or something like that. And we know next to nothing about any of them. Genoma International's pitch is that there are only about 140 of these genetic SNPs that are actually what would be called clinically validated, meaning there are like clinical studies behind them that have been replicated. So they're calling these specific genetic SNPs clinically validated. And they go through these 140 genetic SNPs, ignoring all the rest that aren't clinically validated. And they paint this holistic picture of your health, cardiovascular disease, diet, all these things. And they have gotten some fantastic results. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but they have these like crazy, tremendous success rates with women who have like beat breast cancer, and then they like take this genoma thing and start following that advice, and they have like a 0% rate of people like, you know, having the cancer come back, all this. I'm probably speaking out of turn here. Maybe I'm exaggerating and I don't want to do that. But Genoma International will only let you work with their certified physicians. So if you have a doctor you like, you can actually have them take the training course and become part of this Genova thing. And I think just to run the genetics alone is like $1,200 for Genoma International. I'm pretty sure it's really expensive. But anyway, I've been poking around on this. I really would like to do it and see what it's all about, see how it differs from what Anthony J said. Anthony's blown my mind with some stuff. Like I have these little GABA pills. He told me to get GABA pills because my deep sleep cycle sucks. Now my Oura Ring is charging right now, but I track my deep sleep with my Oura Ring. The first night I took a GABA capsule, I had like 2.5 hours of deep sleep. It was ridiculous. I like never get over like an hour and 15 minutes of deep sleep. Now this is based on my genetic SNPs. He's like showed me the analysis. He's like, you might want to try GABA. And I've tried melatonin, doesn't increase my deep sleep cycle. So he's like, try this GABA stuff. So I picked up GABA capsules for like $14, took GABA, and my deep sleep's off the charts, and I can replicate this every single night. It's great. It's like a game changer, right? Just from the genetics. Joanne, what do you got here? It works. It is tough. I work so much that I do better fasting than eating. So when I am hungry, I have to eat all my protein and fat in a huge meal, which usually means a big ribeye. Beautiful. I love that. This is ancestrally correct, right? None of our ancestors were ever continuously snacking all day long. It's probably 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day for sure. Like that's the thing. People are like, oh my God, I feel like I'm eating so much food for dinner to hit my macros. Cool. Hit your damn macros and then fast for 12 hours, 13 hours, whatever. You don't need to do 16 hours, these arbitrary numbers people come up with. I did want to touch on that. This 16-8 thing. People talk about 16-8 windows fasting, right? I tend to do 16 hours myself, but I'm a guy. I don't like 16-8 for women. And I just never see it work out long-term ever. And the other thing to remember, this 16 hours thing, this is basically how long it takes for an average person to deplete their liver glycogen. So when somebody is saying like, you got to fast 16 hours to get into ketosis, you got to fast 16 hours to burn fat or whatever, this is someone like standard American diet with the average intake of 300 grams of carbohydrates a day. They got to fast 16 to 24 hours to deplete their liver glycogen. Someone like me, I bet I had, I don't know, 6 grams of net carbs in a given day. Like I don't need to fast for 16 hours to deplete my liver glycogen. I just don't, right? People throw these numbers around, 16-8, 16-8. You have to understand all the studies that they do on intermittent fasting and stuff, it's on unhealthy people. Right? Yes, unhealthy people eating a standard American diet, they might need to fast for 16 hours to deplete their liver glycogen. If you're following Clovis, that's not true of you. Okay? So remember this stuff. This is very, very important. You guys gotta, like, context matters for all this stuff. So anyway, that's a bit about DNA Fit, Genoma International. So here's an interesting question. And I haven't done a deep dive on this, but it's pretty cool. It says, question. Have you talked about these newfangled beds yet? So many out there, Tuft and Needle, Avocado, Purple, Casper, Nectar, Lisa, Sleep Number, and it seems like dozens more, including hybrids. Sounds like most of them are foam, so issues include toxicity and body temperature, and the prices range from a few hundred to a few thousand. Cripes, what do you do? Okay, so here's the thing. This is marketing, right? I tell you guys all the time. I'm a professional marketer. I have to be with Clovis, and I always sucked at marketing, and I'm getting better at it, and I have people helping me with it or whatever. These mattresses are all virtually identical, okay? It's either foam, like this person said, or some type of hybrid. It blows my mind that people still go and buy spring mattresses that have toxic chemicals in them. Just look up off-gassing mattresses, and you'll be totally turned off from a lot of the foam products too, right? There's off-gassing foam mattresses, there's off-gassing normal spring mattresses, as you would call them, right? So there are a couple things that you can look for. There are these certifications like CertiPure and GreenGuard. Like CertiPure is CertiPure, I think, CertiPure, and then GreenGuard. These are like eco-friendly certifications. So you at least know that you want an eco-friendly brand. Like she mentioned Tuft & Needle. Tuft & Needle is both, they have CertiPure and GreenGuard. I'm sure of that, right? And it's pretty cheap. That's a pretty cheap mattress. But you bring that in your house, you don't even need to worry about these off-gassing toxic chemicals or anything like that. But so many of these are so similar, and all these mattresses are like, we use our patented foam technology, patented foam technology, patented foam technology. Like, how many patents are there on foam technology for mattresses? Really? Like this is marketing, everybody. This is how marketing works, right? So then they get into podcasts. Like Casper Mattress is notorious. They raised like $40 million in venture capital and then started investing in podcast advertising. And they're on Tim Ferriss's show and Joe Rogan's show and Casper Mattresses everywhere, right? This is just masterful marketing, everybody. These are probably very, very similar if you think about it. So look for that, like CertiPure, look for the GreenGuard for the eco-friendly thing. I have a foam mattress. I don't remember the brand. I bought it years and years ago, and I'm overdue for an upgrade, and I know exactly which mattress I'm going to buy. But yes, so I have a memory foam mattress that's super firm. I like super, super firm, the firmest I can get. I just like that for myself. I have a lot of injuries from different meathead things, and I sleep with a special pillow for my neck injuries and everything. Firm just seems to work better for me, but I am going to buy a new mattress. And yes, again, so all these are pretty similar. So I would look at price point, what fits in your budget, look for the CertiPure certification, look for the GreenGuard certification. And then I would just look at, like, they have these risk-free nights, like sleep on the bed for 100 nights, right? Grab a mattress that does that. What do you got to lose, right? Sleep on the bed for 100, take advantage of their free test drive, right? Test this thing out for 100 nights and see if you like it. Look at the return policies, look at the warranty, how long is this mattress going to last you? And then do they have some kind of risk-free trial? And then just go from there, right? You can compare and contrast these things. So just so you guys know, so I don't leave you hanging here, I have a interview next week with the CEO and founder of 8 Sleep. And 8 Sleep makes this bed called the Pod that I am very, very excited about. It's basically described as like sleeping on a stethoscope. It measures respiratory rate. It measures heart rate variability. It measures your body temperature in real time. So a lot of people will buy like a cheap mattress and then they'll go buy something like a $500 chili pad so you can change the temperature. This just has running water through it. So you can just cool yourself down while you're sleeping. If you sleep really hot, right, the chili pad is great. It's great for couples who the guy gets really hot and the girl doesn't. You can change the temperature on both sides. But the chili pad's like $500 for like the smallest one. I think it's like $700 or something for one for a queen bed or king bed, or it just goes up and up and up from there. This is more expensive than some mattresses, right? Now, the Pod by 8 Sleep actually monitors your temperature while you sleep and adjusts the temperature of the bed in real time as you sleep. There is a natural curve, and you'll hear me talk about this in the podcast, but there is a natural curve of temperature as you sleep. When you fall asleep, your body temperature dips way, 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 way down. And then as you start to wake up, the hormones that are released, cortisol and things like this to help you wake up naturally, your body temperature goes up, 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 up. So it's this kind of this U shape all throughout the night. Now, what's amazing is like with the chili pad, you could say, I want to sleep at 69 degrees. It's going to keep you at 69 degrees. This Pod will actually adjust the temperature as you sleep, and it's tracking your system in real time. So let's say you're a woman with menopause and somehow you're dealing with hot flashes or something. This mattress is literally going to track your body temperature and adjust the temperature of the bed while you sleep. Next thing you know, like your deep sleep cycles are longer, your REM sleep cycles are longer. You just feel amazing. It's like literally optimal. And I have this app on my phone for the Oura Ring that tracks everything. There is an app for this Pod. The Pod bed is basically an Oura Ring just for sleep. You're literally sleeping on a stethoscope. And this is a foam mattress, and then there's a layer of gel, and there's the layer that they have that can change the temperature of this thing. So anyway, just look up the 8 Sleep. The company is 8 Sleep. Look up the Pod, P-O-D. You can go on YouTube and look at people's reviews and everything. People love this thing. That's going to be my next mattress purchase. The only thing that makes me a little concerned about it is that it's a very nice mattress. I think it's like $1,200 or something like that for the one I want. And I can't remember. I could be totally wrong about that. I may have just made that number up. Sorry. But it is my home is an Airbnb, and my master bedroom is the master bedroom that people stay in when they rent my Airbnb. So something to think about. I think I can just unplug the unit from the mattress and cover it. Nobody would even know that it's a super expensive mattress unless they listen to this podcast. But anyway, that's my spiel on mattresses. Look for the CertaPure, look for the Green Guard. I would just go with eco-friendly, foam or hybrid. Again, test them. Do the 100 nights of testing out a mattress or whatever. Don't be afraid to do that kind of stuff. It's great. All right, any comments there? Snacking all day takes up time. We don't have time for that. Yeah, exactly. It's much more efficient to just eat food for what it is. It can still be delicious. It can still be absolutely delicious. I don't cook anything that is not delicious, right? But I also don't cook anything that takes me more than 10 minutes from turning on the burner to having it on the plate. It takes 10 minutes. And sometimes these are giant meals. I might slam 1,500 calories, 2,000 calories in one meal, right? Not a big deal. All right, what else we got here? Questions. Let's see. I wrote down a bunch of questions because I had good ones here. All right, so this is an interesting one from a buddy, John. What's up, dude? I think he's here. I think he's here in Nashville. Whoa, crazy. So this question about massage says, let's talk about massages. Frequency, duration of session, what type, shiatsu, reflexology, trigger, deep tissue, etc. Okay, so I have done extensive work in this. I have also dated a few massage therapists, which has been quite wonderful. And then I have a massage therapist here in town. Her name is Lynn Poole, and she is amazing. If you're in Nashville, go see her. She's incredible. She's a professor at a local massage therapy school. She's very good at what she does. And this is what I would consider medical massage. This is the type of person where you go see her and it's astronomically cheaper than these relaxation massages, things like Massage Envy or reflexology or whatever. And like they usually don't accept tips. This is very much like a physical therapy style massage. And this is called myofascial tissue release, right? So that's what I like to get done is myofascial release work. So if I want to do the real work, this woman is, I am a meathead. You guys know this. Like I have gotten to the point where I'm like deadlifting 400 pounds and there's a sharp pain in my back. And I'm like, I can crawl to my car to drive myself to Lynn to say, please help me. And I see her for an hour and I walk out of there, whoo, I feel great. Like it's incredible. Like she's a miracle worker and she specializes in myofascial release. So that's my favorite type of massage work for really health and wellness. Massage for relaxation is fantastic, right? When I was in Mexico, I got 3 different massages, like an hour-long massage, a 90-minute massage, and then I did another hour-long massage. It was like $30 for an hour, and it was world-class, like amazing massage. But I was in Mexico, right? So what I like to do is this myofascial release. I like to do a 90-minute myofascial release massage, and I like to do that once a month. So I consider that kind of my maintenance massage. Then if something tweaks up or like, I've been doing one-handed kettlebell swings with a 70-pound bell. My new goal is this simple and sinister goal, Pavel Satsulin's simple and sinister goal. I want this sinister goal with a 70-pound kettlebell, right? So I'm doing Turkish get-ups with a 70-pound bell. I'm doing one-handed swings with a 70-pound bell. It's very heavy. So I might be like, oh man, I got a little tweak or whatever. I might call up Lynn and go do 30 minutes of myofascial release in a specific area. So like just do my neck and shoulders for 30 minutes, right? And it's fantastic. Now, if I want to treat myself massage-wise, like relaxation massage, there's a place here in town in Nashville called the Lotus Room, and I'll get an Ayurvedic massage, which is super awesome. Ayurvedic massage is amazing. It's like a little bit of Thai massage in it. They move you around, do some flexibility stuff. They usually do like a dry scrub, like a dry brushing of the skin. And then they'll do like oil therapy in your hair, like rubbing your head and your hair with like this amazing Ayurvedic oil with herbs and spices. It's absolutely amazing. It's fantastic, right? So I love Ayurvedic massage. And then there's all sorts of other things. There's like Rolfing and all these things. And I know, John, I know your background asking this question, athletics and everything. You can't walk into a CrossFit gym without seeing somebody with a barbell smashing their quad. And they literally call these things like quad smashing and all these things. It's like very, very painful mobility work, stuff that doesn't really feel great. I don't really recommend this. I mean, if you're an athlete and you're like desperately trying to recover for the next day because you're competing in CrossFit or something like that, CrossFitters tend to take mobility and massage and all these things the same way that they take CrossFit, which is kick the holy shit out of myself every single day as hard as I can. No pain, no gain. I am a masochist, basically, right? So that's what happens with the world of CrossFit and these athletics with massage therapy and all that. It's like deepest tissue you can possibly do, quad smashing, you're taking lacrosse balls and hammering stuff out. You can do all of those things, but you can do them without really hurting yourself. And what Lynn, who I've been seeing Lynn for years now, I swear by this woman, and she has explained to me that if you treat the muscle with intense aggression, it is going to fire back at you, right? You can do a little bit of light work, this myofascial release, and get the muscle to release without punching it in the face as hard as you can and commanding that this muscle obey you, right? So this is why I'm a big fan of myofascial release anyway, and I do that once a month as maintenance. Then I'll go in and get little spot checkups. And if I ever want to treat myself, I'm going to do probably Ayurvedic massage, right? So I think about the quad smashing and all that crazy stuff like I'm talking about as stressors. Like CrossFit is a stressor on the body. I have that whole stress sucks AMA I did where like sauna is a stressor, cold shower is a stressor, right? Like breath work is a stressor, fitness is a stressor. All these little tiny acute stressors are great. They can be beneficial the same way that like a medication or vaccination or something, an acute stressor can be good for the overall system. I think that massage works very much the same way. Like you can acutely work on the myofascial tissue and try to get it to release or whatever. But if you just hammer it over the head and beat the crap out of yourself constantly, so you do like a hard CrossFit workout, and then you go grab a barbell and roll it and smash your quads out after you just did 400-pound squats for time or whatever you were doing. So your body's screaming at you, and then you hammer the crap out of your quads or hammer the crap out of all your muscles. It's like, dude, do you really need to kick the holy shit out of your body every second of every day? That doesn't seem like a good recovery practice to me. Now, does it? So that's kind of my stance on massage. Frequency is kind of up to you. And of course, budget, because massages get really, really expensive. It's kind of crazy. What else we got here? All right. Joseph, is element then part of the products to not always consume? No, that's totally different. So element is literally just minerals, basically, right? Electrolytes. So if we're looking at electrolytes don't contain macronutrients. I think element might contain like one single macronutrient, right? I think there might be like 1 gram of carbohydrate or something like that in element. I got a box behind me. I could check it out. But no, this is a different thing. I'm talking about getting your macronutrients from products. I guess processed products is the way we would look at it. Like, again, don't get all of your fat macro from MCT oil, which is a super, super highly processed product. Don't get all your fat from grass-fed butter. Don't get all your fat from olive oil or Keto Perfect bars. I mean, I love Keto Perfect bars. They're like dessert to me. I love them. Keto Perfect is an amazing company, right? But you don't want to hit all your macros with these highly processed foods. So to answer your question, Joseph, I'm talking specifically about hitting macros with processed products. When you're dealing with element, this is a trivial macronutrients. I wouldn't even count it towards macronutrients, right? You're just trying to get sodium, potassium, magnesium. And the thing with electrolytes is electrolytes are not going to harm you. If you take too many electrolytes, you're just going to have diarrhea. Anybody who's ever experimented with electrolytes, especially to the extent that I have, I've probably done 10 grams of sodium a day, 10 grams of sodium a day, not salt. That's probably 15 grams of sodium or whatever, right? I'm 15 grams of salt to get that amount of sodium. I have like hyperloaded electrolytes in my life. I do a drink every morning, 5 grams of salt, actual salt, not just sodium. So I do 5 full grams of vitamin C salt. I do about 3 grams of straight potassium chloride, and I do magnesium, 350 milligrams of magnesium first thing in the morning. Like I drink a bunch, I do a lot of electrolytes, right? So yeah, anyway, now we're just talking about minerals and electrolytes. I'm not talking about macronutrients. So to answer your question, just don't hit your macronutrients with these processed foods. So Mike likes myofascia. Yep, very healthy. Trauma release, emotional release for years. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like I believe in energy, right? You guys know that I am woo-woo. I have done all of the psychedelics. I have done all of the woo you could possibly think of. I literally was just scheduling a hunting retreat for Clovis that is actually a spiritual retreat disguised as a hunting retreat that I'm going to do in 2020 with Clovis. So yeah, that's the other thing is I know Lynn, my massage therapist, is a big fan of energy and all these things. You have to think about the energy that you're putting into something like rolfing or putting into something like smash and quad smash, all these things that are just like deep, beat the crap out of yourself. You're bringing an energy to this room that you're in. You're literally bringing an energy of punishment. Like I am punishing my body. This is very unpleasant. Like you'll be in a CrossFit gym and see people doing their mobility work after a workout and you just, it like sounds like a horror movie. People are just like hurting themselves so badly and they're just like, breathe through the massage, breathe through the deep tissue pain. You're like, whoa, dude, this is like an energy that I want no part of. I will go sit in my sauna and meditate to recover. Thank you very much. Right? It's crazy. There's no reason to just beat yourself up all the time. So anyway, we got about 6 minutes left. You guys have any questions? You want to drop them in the comments? I don't have any more questions that I wrote down. So remember, you can always ask questions at any time, ama.iamclovis.com. Lots of stuff coming down the pipe that I want to, keep you guys up to speed on. There is new electrolytes and 3 other new products, but I don't want to tell you about those just yet. Electrolytes are as around the corner as they can be. I'm probably like a few weeks out from offering you Clovis electrolytes, which are fantastic. You're going to love them. I've been drinking them every day because I'm spoiled and I own the company. So we have electrolytes coming out, doing a lot of work around the 5-day challenge. The 21-day challenge is probably going to launch again. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff going on with Clovis and a lot of really cool guests coming on. Garrett Gunderson, who wrote Killing Sacred Cows. He's a financial guru. He's going to come on. Mateus, I believe is his name, the CEO of 8 Sleep, that does the pod, the mattress that I just told you about. So hopefully I can get you a deal on the pod as well if you are shopping for a mattress. We're going to work something out with that brand. I have Marty Kendall coming on from the Optimizing Nutrition, which is fantastic. They have a great Facebook group, but you can just Google Marty Kendall Optimizing Nutrition. He's awesome. And we're going to talk all about nutrient density and regenerative agriculture. And I'm also going to have a guy named Carnivore Kurt come on the show. He's really cool. I've been chatting with Kyle Kingsbury, who's a really cool dude. So there should be some really, really cool episodes coming up in 2020. And I also want to keep featuring Clovis clients. So if you have a testimony you'd like to share, hit me up if you're willing to come on the podcast. I have some recorded testimonies that I already have that I haven't released yet. So I really need to release some more Clovis client testimonies. If you have a great Clovis client testimony, I would love to have you on the podcast and just sit with you like this for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever you give me, and share your story with the world. I would really, really love to do that. So I'd like to have a couple guys come on. Probably going to get Rob Wolf back in the show. I want to get Paul Saladino back in the show and talk about some of the ins and outs that he's learned. We were on a hunting trip together and got to have at least a couple little conversations about nutrition. We mostly didn't talk about nutrition, honestly, because you just get a bunch of guys in the woods hunting. And it's like, yeah, we talk about nutrition all day, every day. So we tended to not even really talk about that stuff that much. It was more bigger life stuff, which is really cool. But we did talk a bit about nutrition. And I think he's got some interesting things that he's learned along the way with this whole Carnivore MD thing. Will you ship internationally at any point in the future? I'm shipping internationally right now. You can go do that at iamclovis.com. I'm glad you asked that question. It's one of those things that's just hard to keep people up to speed in that thing, but you should be able to just go order and ship internationally. It's going to charge you because international shipping is expensive. It is a pain in the ass. So you're going to have to pay to get my products to you internationally, but you can ship internationally. Just go to iamclovis.com. Crystal, can't wait to hear more about peptide injections. Yeah, me too. I have a few that I'm working with right now that I have not started. Again, I have to get the syringes. I'm going to work with BPC 157, which is basically described as like the Wolverine peptide for injury healing. I'm going to work with a stack of tesamorelin and ipamorelin. Ipamorelin and tesamorelin are notorious for body fat loss, particularly abdominal fat. It's just supposed to vaporize abdominal fat, so I'll see what I can do there. I don't have a whole lot of abdominal fat to offer, but I'll see what happens to it. This was actually designed because HIV patients store abdominal fat, adipose tissue in their abdomen, particularly visceral fat. So this was kind of designed for them, and it just seems to work really, really well for people who are not HIV positive, right? At just eviscerating belly fat. So I'm gonna try that out. There's another one called epitalon. A lot of people say it differently, but we always talk about autophagy. Everyone's obsessed with autophagy. This seems to be a peptide that can induce autophagy even in a fed state. So really incredible stuff. I really want to mess with the deep sleep peptide. It's literally just called deep sleep inducing peptide. But just so you guys know, like if you go to a company like TaylorMade Compounding will make these peptides, and like if you want to do 6 weeks of tesamorelin, like you're looking at probably $475 like out of pocket. Then you got to buy the syringes and everything, and you got to get a doctor that'll get you the peptides, unless I know some ways to do them without doctors, but don't tell anybody, right? So anyway, yeah, peptides really interesting, and I'm gonna go all in. You guys know me, I biohack the crap out of myself, and I haven't done any real intense biohacking in quite some time, so I'm really excited about these peptides. It's gonna be fun. What else we got here? Judy, wow, I have really messed up with approved fats like dressing, siete chips, etc. Wow, need to evaluate myself. A lot to think about. Yes, this is huge. This is massive. So Judy, I guarantee you, if we were to run a micronutrient density test on you, a micronutrient test on you, you probably have a lot of micronutrient deficiencies, right? Based on the question. So yeah, if you're just taking in all these processed foods to hit your macros, like go eat a ribeye, okay? Do it. Okay, eat whole foods. Eat whole foods, change the world. You don't hear Justin writing t-shirts that say, eat processed, keto-friendly, paleo-friendly foods, change the world. I'm never going to make a t-shirt that says that. That's not what I believe in, right? I use very little of these products in my life. Very, very, very little of these products, right? The approved foods list is what it is because you guys need variety. Because clients come to me and I give them a approved foods list of 100 foods and they're like, well, what am I going to eat? None of my favorite foods are on here. There's no bread, there's no pasta, there's no nothing, right? And me, I'm just like, I literally eat the same 4 foods every day. I have no problem with it. People talk about gut microbiome diversity and all the overblown. I don't believe in it. So this is where we are, right? I guarantee you that of all the people watching this thing right now, I have hands down the strictest diet of any of you, and I love it. It's ultimate freedom. It's fantastic. The thing, you know what I'm addicted to right now is Topo Chico. I'm obsessed with Topo Chico. Turnip truck started carrying it in Nashville, and I'm buying shitloads. I got Topo Chico bottles all over this place. I can't stop drinking Topo Chicos. I'm obsessed with them. That's my big problem. Topo Chicos and black coffee. That's as crazy as I get with food, right? So Judy, I'm really glad that you tuned in for this AMA. Thank you for the question, and I'm really, really happy that this has shed some light on this for you. Jessica, you got the wow shocked face, probably because maybe you haven't heard of peptides before. I love introducing people to the world of peptides. It's really interesting, and I'm really excited to experiment with them. But anyway, it's 9 p.m., everybody, and I am super tired. Did not sleep well last night at all, and got a lot of work done today, a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to hit the hay. Like, I'll probably be asleep 10 minutes from now. So get off the computers. If you're going to be on the computers or TV, put your blue blockers on. If you don't have your blue blockers, become an I Am Clovis member and get your True Dark blue blockers and do it. Okay. So anyway, that's it. This is AMA number 99. That means next week is AMA 100. I don't have anything special planned for that. What do we do for AMA 100? I don't know. Crazy, right? Topo Chico is it's literally just sparkling water. It's just a brand of sparkling water. It was huge in Texas and has now spread out to the rest of the country. If you ever see a Topo Chico anywhere, buy it and drink it. It's literally just sparkling water. The way it's been described to me is that the bubbles are bigger than other brands. It's the most delicious sparkling water of all time. It's incredible. I'm obsessed with Topo Chico. Topo Chico, I would love to set up an ambassador brand with you, and I would just buy all your Topo Chico and lose money on the endeavor because Topo Chico is amazing. Topo Chico and lime is amazing. Got a little lime hint flavor in there. It's amazing. Yeah, anyway, Topo Chico is fantastic. Go get Topo Chico. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy AMA. Judy, you are welcome. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for continuing to take my advice. Let's get that diet cleaned up. Let's increase nutrient density and change your life for the better. I promise you, this stuff is always nuanced, everybody. Just because I start with you and we're trying to get, fat loss as quickly as we can, then doesn't mean that you need to do that forever. I'll answer this one real quick. Eddie, there is no such thing as a bad psychedelic experience. That drives me nuts. So not that this is your fault, but I truly believe there is no such thing as a bad trip. There is no such, God, now you got me talk. I'll stay here till 11 p.m. You want to talk about psychedelics. There is no such thing as a bad trip. I want to get this through people's heads. Like, you could have a bad trip and it could be like the most miserable experience of your life. And you're going through like, oh my God, I've been an asshole to everyone I've ever met. And my life is terrible. And I need to change everything. And I hate my job. And I hate my life. And I hate my wife. And I hate my kids. And I hate everything. Everything is terrible. You have this crazy, crazy thing, right? And what happens is you come out of the back end of that with tremendous lessons if you allow that to happen. That's not a bad trip. That's just the medicine shining light on the shit that you don't want to see. Bad trips are literally just, they're described as bad trips because people are dealing with things they don't want to deal with, right? Psychedelics, particularly in heavy doses, are like ripping a Band-Aid off of all the open wounds that you have, right? If you have open wounds, let's say you got problems with your wife or problems with whatever, or self-esteem problems or whatever, and you got an open wound, you do a big psychedelic dose, it's literally me just sitting there dumping salt in the wound. Bop, 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 bop. You better deal with your shit. Time to deal with it. This is it. You cannot escape them. That is the point of psychedelics. You have this ego death experience. Most beautiful things I've ever done in my life. And I can tell you right now, I cannot think of a single psychedelic experience ever in my life that I would take back, that I would not go do. I can't think of a single one. I have heard stories from other people or whatever, but you also need to go in with the right mindset. So people are just like, hey, I heard you talk about psychedelics. And they're like, I'm going to do psychedelics with you. And I'm like, okay, do you have a meditation practice? Do you have a journaling practice? Have you ever been to therapy? Have you done any kind of deep work? Have you ever done any kind of inner child work? Are you a self-aware person? Do you analyze your own behavior? Are you on repeat pattern? Are you an alcoholic? Are you dealing with addictions? All these things, because certain people are going to come to me and talk about psychedelics. I'm going to go, you are not ready for this. Don't do this, right? There's a lot of preemptive work that needs to be done. So anyway, yeah, beef liver. You can ask the butcher for beef liver. It's definitely in the frozen section of almost every grocery store I've ever been in. The creepy thing is they tend to do calf liver or veal liver. I don't know why that seems to be in grocery stores, so I don't know how you feel about that. But ask the butcher and they'll have, yeah. The reason why you never see it is because nobody buys it. right? The butcher, it has to be there. They're butchering animals. The organs are there. Some people go to the butcher and get the organs and feed them to their dog. They take the most nutrient dense thing and feed it to their dog as dog food. The farmer that I buy my liver from, no one else buys liver from him except to feed it to their dogs. I am the only one that buys organs from him. I'm like, do you have kidneys? Do you have liver? Do you have heart? I'll take all of it. I have a big giant tongue in my freezer that I haven't cooked yet because I want to do that with a big group of people and, you know, make some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of cool tongue recipe or whatever. But yeah, just look for beef liver. That's it. Go to local farms, eatwild.com. I always tell people to go to eatwild.com and find grass-fed pasture-raised farms, and it's super easy to get your hands on liver, super easy. And get out of the mindset of just needing to walk into your grocery store. Go to eatwild.com, find a farm. You will find a farm. There are these HSAs, I think they're called, or whatever, that the farmers will deliver to farmers markets. Some farmers will deliver. I've had farmers deliver hundreds of pounds of meat to my door. I've had farmers drive to my doorstep and deliver grass-fed pasture-raised beef, right? So just do some exploring, right? Don't rely on your grocery store. If you're relying on your local grocery store, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble in most places. Nashville, I'm lucky because there's organic grass-fed stuff all over the place in Nashville now. So it's a major city at this point. But anyway, all right, that's it. AMA number 98. No, you're not getting free shirts on the 100th episode, man. You know, stop, guys. You need to stop trying to get free stuff from me. You need to start buying more stuff. Let's just be honest here. All right. Good night, everybody. I love you. Go eat your beef liver, get your micronutrients, get your proper food intake in from a species appropriate diet. Eat whole foods, change the world. There's a reason I have these t-shirts. Go to iamclovis.com, buy those t-shirts. Eat whole foods, change the world. If you want to work with me directly, or if you need new macronutrients because you haven't gotten them in 2 years or something, go to iamclovis.com/start. iamclovis.com/start. Work with me one-on-one. Eat whole foods, change the world. Have an amazing night. I love you guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy AMA day. Bye.